let's get into this community buy.
All right.
So yesterday on Stockwatch Sunday, we talked about the Russell 3000 had rebalancing, and I brought 15 stocks that we've talked about positively and negatively. I know Julia Roosh, tried to come bring in the heat about Nikola. I said positive and negative. I put Tattooed Chef in there, Nikola in there. Yeah. Only that it's been topics of discussion on our channel. And I think it's interesting to point out that they put those in there. But from those, I said we're going to do a community buy today, and I sent you over 5. And before we just say which one we're going to do, I want to talk about each one a little bit, pros and cons maybe. But beyond that, also, I wanted to talk about the feedback we received, because we did also ask the community, and that was part of this decision-making process. Yeah. I would say that, so the 5 I gave you were Drive Shack, CarLotz, Palantir, Fubo TV, and Skills. And guys, it wasn't an easy decision, but we narrowed it down to 5, and then Brad and I talked about those 5. This was pulled also from the comments we got. Drive Shack, because of our Chaos crew, I think was the top one. Drive Shack, Palantir, 1, 2. Those are very popular in our community. 3 was CarLotz, but there's been some sentiment around Fubo TV. I think they had that NFL deal in Skills. Yes. But we, I think, pretty quickly basically decided, scaled that back to 3, Drive Shack, CarLotz, and Palantir. Why don't you just talk about why LOTZ and Fubo TV wouldn't be of consideration for you?
Why LOTZ wouldn't be?
Sorry, Fubo TV and Skills.
So for Fubo TV and Skills, Fubo, I think, has lots of potential still, but the upside, if we were looking at all of those, I was looking for something that had the most upside. Yeah. I think Fubo TV definitely still has potential to go up further, but I was looking for something that maybe had a little bit more to go. Maybe something that has gotten so beaten down that makes a lot of sense. So Fubo TV, even though I still like it, I think it's a good company. I think that they have a lot of potential. Yeah. That was one of the big reasons we scratched that. Skills also has a ton of potential, and I think that they can continue to do well. But again, talking about upside, maybe something that's just been beaten down, that doesn't deserve to be beaten down based off of a lot of things. But Skills, I think, is a really good company. I just think that some of the other ones on the list had a lot more upside when it came to risk versus reward.
All right, so that leaves Drive Shack, Palantir, and CarLotz.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Drive Shack is one of my highest conviction stocks. It's been on the channel, I mean, since when? What, June? Almost a year, or a year now.
Yeah, yeah.
We've talked about it on the channel. We love this stock. This probably would be our #1 community buy, but we're both in it. And I'm nearly full position size, so I thought it was...
I feel like it's a cop-out.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a cop-out, and most of you guys are in it. Yeah. So Drive Shack out of these 5 would be my highest conviction.
Yes, I would agree.
My second highest conviction would be Palantir, and I was surprised. I thought that was the one you were going to choose, but you didn't. I'm in Palantir. I think I'm up 40% on it. I got it's up 20. It just broke over $27 today. It's looking really good. I still think there's a lot of room to run. Yeah. However, I think your concerns were around just the fact that it needs to cool off a bit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, that, and I mean, it's on the verge of breaking out. So it's either going to get rejected here at this resistance at 2750, or it's going to blow it out of the water. Yeah. I mean, but again, upside, we're talking about like how much room does this have to go? Even if it breaks over that resistance, does it get slowed down again by the next one? So, yeah, I mean, still tons of potential for Palantir. We love that stock.
So we wanted a stock we can buy now. Yes. Right now, people, today. At this moment. And that has got to be CarLotz. Yeah. Wasn't an easy decision. What do you want to take, the bull case or the bear case?
I'll take the bear case.
Okay, good.
I always think that giving bad news first is good. So with CarLotz, there's some issues with CarLotz, because if you guys don't know their business model, it's surrounded around providing corporations with used car fleets. So if you're a business and maybe you can't afford all new cars, maybe the used car route could be for you. And in this case, obviously, LOTZ could become a benefactor of some of the chip shortages because of new cars and stuff like that. And I'll let you talk about that as far as the bull case is concerned. But my big concern here is that if they have to buy used cars in order to flip them to corporations for fleets and stuff, their operating costs are probably going to be much higher as a result. And so that's kind of one of my big concerns. Obviously, you know, they could potentially make that up with the amount of demand that is in for used cars as well. I mean, the markup that they could make could be considerable, but that's definitely a cause for concern. The other one is that the SPACs have just really fallen out of favor, and LOTZ is definitely in that camp. But you know, as long as investors kind of look at SPAC stocks and turn up their nose, I think that it's going to be a bit of a struggle to get lots to move up. So there's a lot of risk here. Also, it just broke below a pretty key support, and so that there's also this opportunity for it to maybe even come down a little bit further. Made the case to Fat Man Zoom that I could see this coming down to at least 515 as it now has broken that support. So there's definitely some downside risk to LOTZ for sure.
Yeah, so the bull case, I think there's some significant things going on. Let's start with first just talking about what we're looking for in stocks. To be clear, this is incredibly speculative.
Yes.
And with that becomes high reward, but there's also high risk. So we're going to lay out our strategy after I give this bull case. But the thing is that, like, we've talked about profitability and how what it means to a publicly traded stock when it goes from not profitable to profitable.
Yeah.
And even when it just shows the path to profitability. And so if with upcoming earnings, if it could show that path to profitability, I think that bodes well for the company. There's not a lot of short interest on the stock, even though there's a potential. I think this isn't why we buy a stock, but what could happen is there's some talks around it being potentially a meme stock.
Yeah.
It could have that push. I'm not getting into it for that. If that happens, that's just icing on the cake.
Yes.
There is a chip shortage, which new car companies are talking about, or automotive companies are trying to sort of quell concerns, and they're saying that, oh, it's coming back. It's not that big of a deal. But the reality stands, there is still a chip shortage. That bodes well for used cars.
Yep.
And this is more of a shorter term trade. I would say in the next 3 months, we hope to be in and out of this stock. So I think that's the case. I think that it is holding up fairly well technically. So it's worth it for me to try it out. But most importantly, the company is moving, and I like the strategy they're employing and their growth strategy. They announced 3 hubs that are coming in California, in Colorado, and Missouri, which I think is huge for them and shows to their growth potential. And their headquarters in Richmond is expanding as well. Why would you expand? Because business is good.
Yep.
And opportunity is there. So when we look for a stock, guys, it's about overall sentiment, maybe a little bit bearish, but us trying to find these opportunities when we think maybe it's a little bit overdone. And I do believe CarLotz, there's the bearish position is well-founded, but I think it's a little bit overblown.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to take a chance, I think this is an opportunity to take a chance.